So, what's your preferred area? I know you offer many solutions, and if you're talking about comprehensive cybersecurity solution, they're too broad. But piece by piece, what's your preferred area? If you're gonna offer a company where to begin their security, their protection, would they start on network security, web application security, security management slash policies, offensive security, cloud security, of course, if they're using the cloud, digital forensic, SOC, etc. What's the first offering? We should start from here.
It's a very tricky question. Look, if I was to start the journey of cybersecurity, um, if the customer doesn't understand where to start,
Yeah.
I always go and let's look at from your business perspective, what are the risks? That's the number one thing. Till the time we don't put people into thinking mode, they actually don't understand that do I have this risk? I have never thought about it, that this is a risk to my business, as an example. So I would start a customer journey with the risk register. That if I have to pick one thing,
Hmm.
you know, because till the time they don't understand what the risk is, they will never be able to mitigate. Now, when it comes to the technology, um, I would pick penetration testing as my first. Penetration testing is not going to fix anything, but it's actually going to help you identify where the gaps
That's
are
correct.
in the existing. So you might have a really good systems in place. I have worked with the customers. Everybody works from home. Everybody's got a MacBook. Well, how are you going to start their journey? We can't do pen testing. So it's very tricky to answer, but for majority of the customer, pen testing is a really good starting point. But for all the customers before penetration testing, even why we do pen testing, you know,
Right.
risk register. That's where I would start the journey for my customers.
All right. So
And
risk register, and then if the company doesn't know what to do, we can also offer penetration testing.
yes, absolutely. Then we start with the penetration testing. And then because when you're looking at fixing all the gaps the penetration testing has identified, that's when you lean on to cybersecurity frameworks such as NIST, you know,
Yeah.
that otherwise there is no need to have NIST if you don't even know where the gaps are. So
Exactly.
risk register, if I have to pick one thing, it's risk register.
All right. Great. Nice to know. All right. Next, what do you think is the next big threat? They're saying IoT. And think about it. When IoT becomes mainstream, everything is all connected. The lights, all of the appliance, the traffic lights, everything, smart cities. Think about it. It would be so much vulnerable, and it will be like a party to many hackers. And yeah, that is just what you will hear on articles and blogs. But you, as security leader, what do you think is the next big threat?
Yep, IoT devices are definitely number one on the risk list. Absolutely. Um, I can give you a recent example. We did a red teaming engagement where we were able to compromise a printer. And from printer, we were able to jump onto a print server. From print server, we elevated the privilege. That's how we logged on to the Active Directory because there's a trust relationship between print server and Active Directory. The point I'm trying to make is if the printer was, if the network segmentation was put in place, and I'm sure your background is network as well, you understand network segmentation. If network segmentation was put in place, and this printer had limited access to, because the end user devices don't communicate with the printers, they communicate with the printer. So if the printer was put in a separate zone, and so as all the other IoT devices are put in a separate zone, your risk level drops significantly because now these devices, you can control the communication now, put them in a separate zone, put them behind a firewall, block internet communication. I can give you an example. It's a school that we work with. One of their QNAP devices had a ransomware note on it. And what this note says is because the QNAP have a poor cybersecurity hygiene practices in place, that's why you got ransomware on it. The problem I see is because there's no network segmentation in place.
Hmm.
So number one thing, the number one risk is IoT, and I think at this stage, um, because IoT devices come with their own big risk, because you can't enable multi-factor authentication on IoT devices. And I think recently the government has started to become a little bit more strict with the IoT devices and the strategy. The vendors have to supply a unique username and, or sorry, a unique credentials for each device. In the past, all the devices came with admin, username and password. And
Yeah.
there are companies who, yes, the default credentials, and the company, we still do pen testing for organizations, and we still pick up their UPS from 10 years, had a default credentials on it. And the reason why, because they just never bothered to change it. So IoT will be the next big risk. Well, it is a risk. There are many cybersecurity incidents that have happened just because of the IoT devices. Absolutely. The second big threat landscape that I personally believe is, which no one's talking about it, is the SaaS security.
Oh,
SaaS is a very interesting one,
yeah.
because IoT, you know, as a company, if I have a printer in my office, I know that I have connected a printer, and protecting the printer is my responsibility. When you have a SaaS-based platform, the line of what's my responsibility and what's a SaaS platform provider's responsibility, the line is very bloody, and there is a lot of confusion around it. And you know, you pick any Office 365, you know, let's use Office 365 as an example. You can't do penetration testing against Office 365. Not gonna help. But when you as a customer use Office 365, it's your responsibility to make sure you have everything from a security, you tick all the boxes, you have everything locked up. And how many people actually know that there are over 335 controls in Office 365 that they need to close? Unfortunately, not. And there are
Okay.
companies who change these controls on a daily basis. So SaaS security is, in my opinion, will be the second big threat vector.
All right. Well, interesting because companies or vendors, they're promoting SaaS solution as very secured.
They up to an extent, but when you ask them, are they ready to take the responsibility if a data breach happened? No one will say yes.
No, of course.
So
All
who's
right.
going to take care? So where's the responsibility? So that's why, yes, IoT and SaaS security, these two next big things,
All
in
right.
my
Good to know.
opinion.
Good to know.